Galactic Standard Date. Year 11356. Day 96. Sol Standard Date. 4th of the 8th, 3267. Talaktan burst into Tal Mali's office without any warning. Mali! It has been an hour! Where the actual fuck is this Felis Apostolat? I mean shit! We are 6.5 hours before this planet gets knocked into oblivion by our own doomsday device, and I refuse to leave this dust bowl without finding out if the guy that just pulled my abdomen out of the Veilfire is even still alive. No Varay left behind, Mali. Tal Mali has spent the last hour after the battle finished feverishly searching for survivors across the planet, as well as setting up a refugee camp. She had just started dealing with the reports that they were going to have to jury-rig spaceworthy vessels from the remains of destroyed ships just to get everyone off planet. She sighed and looked up from her task of coordinating the mass exodus. Yes, I am more than well aware of that, General Akhtan. If you haven't noticed, I am relatively overwhelmed currently, as I am one of the last surviving administrators on this entire planet. So please, if my work here isn't good enough for you, here's my key, take my personal ship, and search among the carcasses that are still hanging in low orbit, she said, as she flicked over an identification card to Tel Akhtan. The General wrote her antenna at Tal Mali before swiping the card off the table and walking out of the office. She walked through the messy hallway as the workers and soldiers who were assisting stormed around her as they rushed to complete their given tasks. Papers flew everywhere, and frustrated murmuring was abound, yet all of them seemed to make it through the whirlwind of chaos without a thought. After weaving through the veritable sea of her kin, she reached the landing zone and started walking by all the parking dogs while holding the ID card out towards them. She walked past a few dogs before a chime sounded, and the ground opened and slowly revealed Tal Mali's personal spacecraft as it rose to ground level. The sleek white craft took up a full 15 meters square with its wingspan. It was modelled to look like a snow-white bird gliding across the skies, and the wings even had stylized feathers. The ramp opened up, and Akhtan walked into the ship, letting out a low whistle as she admired the ridiculous amount of detail that went into everything, from the walls to the furniture. They all had some stylized murals of their winged goddess, helping them cultivate their worlds and teaching them what they would need to advance their society. Goddess damn, that girl must have poured a veritable fortune into this thing. I almost wouldn't blame her if she hadn't given me the key. Yes, she really does care about our little benefactor. She entered the cockpit and stuffed 2 of her legs into the control console for steering, and 2 more on the touchpad for any other controls. She ignited the engines and took off, heading for the massive bodies of the Azarians that hung in space above her planet like moons. Minutes later, she was slowly coasting past a bisected Azarian corpse that was still leaking what seemed like an infinite amount of fluids into space. She shivered slightly as she finally realized the actual size of these behemoths. They were literally dozens of kilometers long and a dozen or more wide. A 4'2" Feely kitty kill these things? Gotta buy him a drink when I find him. As she flew between the mangled remains of the behemoths for half an hour, shining a spotlight everywhere she went, she finally caught a glint of light being reflected back. She slowly flew towards the object of interest and found Sylvan hanging in space with a haggard expression on his face as he waved his knife-like claws into the light. "Clever bastard using those overgrown claws to reflect my light," she said, as she maneuvered the ship towards him and sealed the airlock before opening it and moving close enough to him for him to grab hold and pull himself into the ship. Sylvan grabbed the edge of the ramp and pulled himself into the ship before the ramp closed and sealed him inside. As soon as the gravity kicked on, he slammed onto the deck of the airlock with an audible oof, before sighing and grabbing a nearby ledge to pull himself up with. After the airlock cycled, it opened to reveal a massive Torvaray. Sylvan presumed to be of a higher soldier class due to the Predator armor and the number of battle achievements carved into the side. He stumbled into the main cabin with shaky legs before finding a comfortable-looking seat and plopping down into and leaning back. He managed to groan out a thank you between his haggard breaths. "Thank you for the ride. May I ask your name?" Tal Akhtan had been examining him from head to toe in silence for a minute before she realized he had asked her a question. She quickly snapped to attention, saluting with her antenna. "General Tal Akhtan, but you can call me Akhtan. I'm currently currently." She looked all around the room as she searched the words before sighing and taking a deep breath. "And you are?" Sylvan stared at her incredulously for a moment before deciding that he was simply misinterpreting things, because she was an alien that looked absolutely nothing like him and had no clue how to read their cues. So, he gave a weak bow while sitting down and said, "My name is Sylvan. I used to be an admiral of the Filid race, though that changed when I lost my fleet and was rescued by my lord and lady. Now I am but a humble servant of Lord Basilis and Lady Amaranth." At this, Tal Akhtan tilted her head in confusion. "The Lady of Hatred and Death is named Maleficus. I do not know who you speak of, let alone the fact that they are 2 now instead of 1. I'll bring you to the clergy. There you can explain what happened possibly. Though we have to evacuate this planet, we kind of triggered an apocalyptic event when we started dropping our moon. Sylvan raised an eyebrow at this. It was you guys that dropped the moon? Did that happen on the previous world as well? Talacta nodded. Most likely. The Azerians won't destroy worlds that can foster their food source. They simply scour the surface of all life and revel in the pain and agony of the sentience they eat. They use the food they take in to birth new generations of Azerians. With a sigh, Sylvan sunk further into the chair. I'm gonna try to contact Lord Basileus. He can fix the whole moon situation.